All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott, formerly of Rankin Technical College, and as part of my YouTube channel, JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, I have approximately 50 or 51 or so videos on my YouTube playlist, Jeff Teaches Programming-Python, and I'm going to do another one. I'm into databases right now, and I've gone and done a database example where we did a CRUD application, but I did everything inside of main. Then I went back and redid the CRUD application and pulled it out, so I wrote different functions for the different CRUD operations. And now what I'm going to do is in this Demo03, which I'm going to open with code right now, all I put in here, and I'll show it to you, but all that's in here is a comment. That's it. So as it says, I want to make the non-object-oriented program shown, I should say, created in application Demo02 db.py, an object-oriented programming, an object-oriented program. To do this, create an employee class for the employee table fields and a database class basically for the CRUD operators and any other methods that we have. So these are the key changes that we're going to make in here. We'll have an employee class, so it'll be employee dot py and a database class, so we'll have database.py. All right, so the employee class, as it says, will encapsulate the employee data, so it'll be responsible, as it says right here, for the first name, the last name, and the email. The database class, database.py, will be responsible for the CRUD operations. And I guess I shouldn't even say it like that, because what I'm going to do is I think I'll put these together into one file, because the employee class is very small. It's only going to have a couple methods in it. So let's come in here and start doing it. All right, so in here we're going to import SQLite 3. All right, and we're going to have class employee. All right, and like I said, it's only going to have two methods in it. Def underscore init, which you know is the equivalent of having a constructor. We're going to have self in here, first name, last name, and email. And we're going to even take that and we'll default it to none. Because if you remember, one of the things that we talked about before was that field was not mandatory. So we will say in here self dot first name equal first name, self dot last name equals last name, and finally self dot email will be equal to email. Okay, that's literally it for that. Now, the other thing I want to do is basically I want to overwrite the string method, but I want to show you something. I'm going to actually put in two comments here. All right, because I'm going to do this in a different way, and it was something I found looking for something else online. And let's see, Python's got something called underscore RPR underscore. All right, so it says this is called a dunder method. It defines behavior when you pass an instance of a class to it. It returns the string representation of an object. Typically, it returns a string that can be executed and yield the same value as the object. In other words, if you pass the return string to the eval function, you get the same thing. So they give an example here. They create a person class, very similar to really what we're doing when you look at it, because what we have right there is, again, a constructor where we're passing in first name, last name, and age, where we have first name, last name, and email. Then we're creating an instance. All right, and we're printing RPR for person. And the output, as it says, contains the memory address of the person object. So to customize it, you write your RPR method. So we're going to do this, and it's going to be very similar to if we did string. So you might say, as I grab this one, you might say, okay, that's fine, Jeff. Just answer me one question if you would. Why don't we just use the str method as we had done previously? Well, in here, I found this article from Real Python. When should you use underscore underscore RPR versus underscore underscore str in Python? It says, in short, use this for programmers and use str for users. One of the most common tasks that a computer program performs is to display data. Well, nothing big there. The RPR and str methods are two of the special methods you can define for any class. They allow you to control how the program displays an object in several common forms of output. All right. So it says here, Python classes have a number of special methods. This thing is hyperlinked up the wazoo. These methods have a double leading underscore. Well, two of them, again, are underscore underscore RPR, REPR, and underscore underscore str. Both, as it says, return string representations of an object. Sorry, it's getting late. All right. Underscore underscore REPR underscore underscore provides the official string representation, whereas underscore underscore str underscore underscore provides the informal string representation. So this is programmer oriented, and this is user oriented. As it says, underscore underscore REPR underscore underscore in general provides detailed and unambiguous information about the object. With the underscore underscore str underscore underscore, as it says there, this representation enables any user to understand the data contained in an object. It's typically simpler and easier to read. So you can use either one. All right. Whoops. Get that out of here. Go back to here. And this is that URL if you want to take a look at that. So we're going to have a def underscore underscore REPR. Notice it's recognized. Underscore underscore. And all we're going to pass into there is self. All right. And for there, we will return an F string of employee self dot first name, comma, self dot last name, comma, self dot email. All right, and since this is an F string, we don't want that. We don't want that colon there. We want that to be a double quote. Let's get rid of that, and we want to end this with a double quote. Like that. And it looks a little funky here. Let's get rid of the parens. I think that's going to fix this. All right, so employees, like that. There we go. So again, we could have done this with an str as well. I just thought I'd try this having found that. All right, because I'm trying to give you, expose you to as much of this stuff as possible. All right, now the other thing we're going to have in here is going to be our database class. So class database. Again, this is those are arbitrary names I came up with. We are working with employees, so that made sense. These are our database operations, so I thought database made sense. So def underscore underscore init underscore underscore self db, and we are going to default the name. So db name will be equal to test3.db. So if we wouldn't specify a name, there it is. And self.db name equals db name. And self.con, our connection, equals self.create connection, which is something we're going to write down below. All right, so that's our first method. Now we're going to have our create connection method. All right, it'll require self, and this will be put into a try except. So we're going to come in here and say con equals SQLite3 dot connect self dot db name print f string connection established. Very similar to what we did before. All right, and then we will return that connection. All right, and if for some reason it doesn't work, we are going to then print error trying to connect to database, period. Okay, and we'll do the E so we can actually give the detailed description, and we will return none. So what have we done in here so far? Okay, just taking it from the top. We first went in and, of course, imported our SQLite3. Then we created our first class, which is right here. That's the employee class. In the constructor for the employee class, we're passing in the first name, the last name, and possibly an email. And then we're setting the stuff accordingly. We're also having an underscore underscore REPR underscore underscore, where we are basically returning what we're doing in here, which is we are returning this information about an employee. Okay, the first name, the last name, and the email. Now that I look at this, this looks right, that looks right, this should be there. That looks better. Now we have our database class. Again, the equivalent of the constructor that we have in here, we're passing in the name of our database. If we don't pass in a name, it'll default to test3.db. We're setting that name, and we're setting a connection. We're setting the connection by a call to create connection, which is right here, which says attempt to connect rather to that database. If you can, say connection established and return the connection. If you cannot, say error trying to connect the database, give the error, and return none. All right. And I'm just going to basically follow along with what we've done before. So in other words, here, this was, if you remember, and I know I'm writing less comments in each one of these, but step 1, create database connection. All right. And now we're going to do step 2. And in step 2, we will attempt to create a database table. So database connection. So here's our table. So this will be def. We'll call it what it is, create table. We will pass in self. All right. And again with a try. And we will C equals self.con.cursor. So we are creating our cursor. All right. And then we will have a create table query. That'll be equal to, let's put in our doc string. And inside of here, where we're attempting to create the query, all right, we're going to put in here create table. If not exists, employees, very similar basically to what we've done in the past. And inside of here, I don't know why I keep putting in that when those should be parentheses, but I keep screwing it up. So we'll have in here first name, text, not null, last name, text, not null, and email, text, which can be null. All right, so there's that. Okay, next we will execute. So c.execute our create table query, which we just did. All right, so we're telling it to create that. And then we have to commit, not executed there, it's execute. All right, this will change a little bit. Again, we're working in object-oriented code. So it's self.con.commit. Then let's do a print to give a message that says employees table successfully created, which is what happened there. And if not, we're going to do the same kind of exception we did previously. Let's just grab that. Should all be tabbed over one. So error trying to create table employees and return none. All right, very similar to what we did earlier. Okay, there's not really even anything to return. We couldn't create, we couldn't create anything, so we didn't even need this, really. We could put it in there. It's not like it's hurting anything. Now, down on the bottom, we're going to have a main. And I'm going to say here, DB equals database, db.create table. All right, so that's what we're doing so far. All right, and of course at the very bottom here we have to put in our if, come on Jeff, if underscore in name underscore underscore double equals main, and that's got to be underscore. Computer's going a little nuts here. Underscore underscore main underscore underscore call main. So all we've done so far is we're calling main. It should come in and create the database. So it's going to create the database object right here. There. All right. And then we call create table. Okay, let's see what happens if we do this. So file, save all, or see if we get an error. And it looks like we got a lot of them. So let's do this first. Let's clear this. Okay, so I'm going to clear it. And let me run it again. So let me do a file, save, and let's run it. No, I think that's why. So connection established. Employees table successfully created. Good. All right, so that's everything we wanted to do thus far. So the next thing to do then, again, we're just going to walk down. We're going to walk down basically the same way that we did this before. But again, we're doing this in an object-oriented way now. All right. So the next thing that we'll do is step 3. Okay. As we work our way down here. So again, this will be step 3. And this will be insert single employee. All right. Let's grab this. Let's just put that down here. All right. And we're just going to say error trying to insert record into table employees. All right. Now, this is where we're going to attempt to do this. Okay, so we're going to pass in self, and we're going to actually pass in employee. I think I called it emp last time. It really doesn't matter. So our insert employee query equals docstring. Let me hit enter here. All right, so we're going to say here insert, sorry, it's got to be capitalized, insert into employees. Okay. First name, last name, email, and then values, which are going to be question mark, question mark, question mark. All right. If that works, and we're of course hoping it will, we have to execute it. So c.execute. We want to execute the insert employee query. All right, and in there we will want to put in employee dot first name, employee dot last name, and employee dot email. Okay. I probably could spread that out over more than one line. It would read a little easier, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. All right. Again, self.con.commit. We're doing our commit. And again, we'll do a print. Print record for, and we'll use employee dot first name employee dot last name. Come on. What did we say here? We said successfully created, so we'll say successfully inserted. All right, and if we have a problem, error trying to insert. Okay. All right, let's go back down into our main. And after we've got this done, all right, let's go in and let's just do this. Let's create our employees. Create all 5 current employees. All right, I'm going to give them different names than last time. Okay, in fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the people in my family. So Jeff equals employee. In fact, I won't, because then they'll have too many similarities. So Jeff, I like single quotes in here. Jeff, Scott, jpscott at gmail.com. Not my Gmail address. Wish it was. All right. So Mary equals employee. Mary. Come on. Green. And her email address will be marygreen@yahoo.com. All right, next we'll make Will equals employee, and it will be Will Wilson. All right, and he will be Willie Wilson at gmail.com. 2 more. Kate will be equal to employee. Kate Black and it'll be Katie B at yahoo.com. Finally, we'll have Tony. Tony White will be at Tony Boy. Oops. Tony Boy at I think it's another gmail.com. Okay, so I've got all those. So now that I've got those, first I'm gonna try to call method to insert employee 1, Jeff Scott. So I'm going to call in here db.insert single employee, and I will pass in there Jeff. Okay, let's see what happens. File, save all, run it. Error trying to insert record. Okay. And the error is near the paren. Okay, so we have to fix that. So execute employee query. Let's just look at the whole method and make sure that it was okay. All right. All right, we're passing in their self and employee. We're doing a try. We are opening our cursor. We're creating insert employee query. Insert into employees. First name, last name, and email. Values are 3 question marks. That all looks good to me. Let's move this like this, and we'll move this one up so it's here. Okay, then we're going to execute our insert employee query. Let's see if we can put this here, put this on another line. All right, I want to be able to read it. So we want to execute here our insert employee query, which is what we called it. And we're passing in parens employee.firstname, employee.lastname, and employee.email. All right, then we're committing. We're trying to do a print there that says record for employee first name, employee last name, successfully inserted. All right, except if we get an error inserting, trying to insert record into employee. So let's check it out again. So that's a save. Let's go back down to our main here and double check. Employee first name, last name, email address, and it's called Jeff, and we're attempting to db.insert single employee. We're passing it Jeff. I don't know, it looks right to me, so let's see. Error trying to insert. It says near parenthesis. Doesn't tell me the line number, but error trying to insert employees near parenthesis. Syntax error. All right. All right, so where is the actual insert taking place? Right here. Ah, I've got paren, and I don't know what that extra paren is doing there. That looks much better now to me. So let's try that. File, save all. And let's see if I get inserted. Record for Jeff Scott, select successfully inserted. So that worked. Good. All right, let's clear. We've now gone through and done our first 3 steps. So now it's time for step 4. And step 3 was not to create a database table. It was to insert one record into employees table. And this one, step 4, is to insert multiple records into the employees table. All right. I am going to copy in the except that down here. All right, so this is our multiple. It will expect self, and now instead of employee, employees, because we're putting in multiple. All right. Now remember, when we do this, it's a C dot execute many. And that will be equal to I should be able to do this with a docstring. When I did it myself, I didn't use a docstring, but I have no idea why it wouldn't work. So we're going to say here, insert into employees values question mark question mark question mark. Get a little space in here. All right, and we're going to basically kind of create a list. So we'll have emp dot first name, emp dot last name, emp dot email, and this will say for emp in employees. Again, we're looping through this. We're iterating our way through in here. All right, we again want to then commit. We'll do a print with an F string that says additional employee records, I guess would be better. Successfully inserted. All right. And again, if it doesn't work, error trying to insert records into table employees. Now we've got these and we call this, but now we want to do is we want to come in and we want to call the method to insert multiple employees. So it's going to be db.insert. What did we put here? We call them both insert single employee. So this will be insert multiple employees. So that's what we want to call here. It's not that. What I did. Insert multiple employees. And we'll want to put in here that list of, well, whoever we had here. So Mary, Will, Kate, and Tony. Mary, Will, Kate, and Tony. All right. So file, save all. Let's bring this up, run it. All right, we got an error, no problem. It's actually kind of a good thing that we're getting these errors. And what I mean by that is it's, giving us a chance to see what the heck is going on in here. 125, 122, and 94. Well, that's 125. That's 122. All right, and 94. So that's in here. Insert into employees values. I'm going to redo this. Okay. And what I mean is, you'll see in just a minute. I think it's the doc string, because when I did it and got it to work, I didn't use a doc string. So I'm going to have one double quote here. And I'm going to end it here. Don't worry, we'll fix this in just a minute. So insert into employees, values, question mark, question mark, question mark, comma, and then we're going to have the emp first name, etc. Okay, so now doing that, we no longer need this. Okay, so we're inserting, and this is what we'll be inserting. We're working our way through this. In other words, we're iterating our way through it. So file, save all. We're going to clear this and try running it again. Still doesn't like it, so Jeff's got inserted. Still doesn't like that. Again, we got execute many as read only. It's the same error we got before, so we got to fix that. All right. Okay. Equals. I wonder if okay, there's a couple things here that are a little funky. Okay, so we've got emp.first name, emp.last name, email. I'm going to put this all on the same line. But if you notice in here, there's the beginning. I don't have... I think I need to parenthesize the entire thing here. So we'll do this, bring on this, and a parenthesis. I want to see if that fixed it. Save all. Do we have a database? Yes, we do. Let's get rid of that database too. Okay. All right, let's try to run it again and see if we fixed it or if I did not. Oh, it still doesn't like it. Okay, I wonder it possibly is because I don't put this in there now. All right. It looks like we're still getting the same error. Object attribute execute many is read-only. Well, let's try this. Let's take this and let's make this a teaching moment. So I don't need that anymore. Okay. You're trying to modify an attribute of the cursor. You want to call a method of the cursor. It should be cursor.execute. I thought I did that. Oh, wait a minute. There's no equal sign in there. All right, that is probably why I was getting the error to begin with. So File, Save All. Let's run this. There we go. Additional employee records successfully inserted. Well, we've got those first things in there. However, we didn't put a read in here yet, which would be kind of nice to verify that Jeff Scott is in there and the other 4 people that we have are in there as well. So let's do that next. Let's clear. Move this down. See where we are for time. All right, I'm at 45 minutes, and I am taking my time on purpose here. So let's see, we want to do step 5 next. Let's just grab all of this. So this will be step 5, and we'll call this display the records of the employees table. Okay, so we'll call this display records. How about display employee records? And we'll need self, and that'll be it. Here we'll just say error trying to display employees. Okay. All right. So this is going to change in here in just a second. So this, we still need our cursor, and now it's an execute. Let's get rid of all this. So c.execute, and simply it's going to be a select star from employees. That's it. All right. We don't have to do any commit. We're not changing anything. So we'll just come in here and say, here are the current employees table. Here are the records, the current records in the employees table. All right, so we will have to loop through these, and we will say for row in rows, and we didn't do a fetch all, which would be kind of nice. We better get those records. So rows equals c dot fetch all. All right, so for row and rows, print f string. We don't want an n there. Name, and that'll be row 0, followed by a space, followed by row 1, followed by a tab, followed by email, and row 2. Okay, that should be everything. All right, now that we've done all this, let's go back and we're going to make some changes here. All right, we created the table. Now we inserted Jeff, and now I'm going to call display. That's not what we called it. Display employee records. Why did I pick that up? I don't know. Display employee records. Now, what is wrong with this? It's probably a tab thing. Doesn't look like it's screwed up though, but it's not recognizing it. Display employee records. says it's not defined. Display employee records. Look like that's the way I spelled it there. Display employee records. Still doesn't like it. Crud. Fetch all your records in employees table for rows. Name. Row 1. Row 2. That looks correct to me. Otherwise, error trying to display employees. Here are the current records in the employees table. Let's just do this. Let's do a save all. I'm probably going to get an error here because it doesn't recognize it, but let's clear this and run it. It says display employee records is not defined. Again, typically when you get that error, there's a problem with tabbing, but I didn't see one in here. Display employee records. Self. The problem could have been in the previous one here too, I guess. But I don't think so. Display employee records. Self. Try. C equals self.con.cursor. C.execute. Select star from employees. Rows equals C.fetch all. Print something like here are the current records for row and rows. Print F string name, row 0, row 1, so that'll be the first and last name, \T, and the email for row 2. Don't see anything that looks incorrect there, except it's lined up correctly, as far as I can tell. Fetch all is spelled correctly. We're still getting this though. It's DB dot display employee records. Yeah, because it's in the class, the DB class. Right there. All right, file, save all. Sorry about that. We probably got that way faster than I did. All right. So, records for Jeff Scott. Here are the current records. Kind of bad it's putting Jeff Scott a bunch of times there. A lot of times. Well, let's go back and let's get rid of the database. That'll fix part of this. All right. Now, let's just go and do this. All right. Let's see. Control B here and let's clear this. All right. You've got me. We put me in there. And let's just display the employee records after they're all in there, hopefully. All right, so file, save all, and let's run this. Well, that looks a little funky, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're all in there. So Will Wilson, that, like I said, looks really weird. All right, we'll fix that. and then we'll run it again. All right. So let's go back here. And instead of Will Wilson, we'll call this just Will, I don't know, Frank. Okay. Oh, I didn't put a comma in there. There was nothing wrong with Willie Wilson. We'll just call this Will Frank at gmail.com. Everything's nice and lined up now, so let's get rid of the database. All right, file save all or save. Let's run. And there it is. Here are the current records. And they're all in there. All right. And I am at 56 minutes. So I'm going to save this and finish the rest of this tomorrow as part 2. Put all 3 portions of this out there. My naming structure for these files, pardon my French, but it sucks. And what I should have done is I should have just given each one of these their own number, and I didn't do that. It's too big a pain in the butt to go back now and do that, so I'm not going to. All right? But I'll try to clear it up as much as hopefully I possibly can tomorrow. So we will finish this up tomorrow, and then we'll talk about where we're going next. All right? Thanks.